So after decades of hard work, sacrifice and discipline, and especially saving, you finally reach your retirement. But as you step into this new chapter in your life, you need to answer a very critical question. Should you spend your retirement savings now or keep them untouched and hope that they grow in the future? Well, in today's video, we're going to look at this dilemma. We're going to be revealing some very surprising trends and insights just for you. We're also going to be talking about how spending habits tend to evolve with age and even the stark differences between investing and spending attitudes between men and women. So join us as we explore and learn the 6 key findings from a recent Blackrock report about how people manage their finances in retirement, with the psychological and the practical factors affecting their spending patterns. So are you willing and are you prepared to make the most of your retirement and to spend your retirement money and perhaps to die with zero? Well, welcome back to the Personal Finance crew. And if this is your first time, a very warm welcome to the Economies channel, where together we're going to be learning the language of money and wealth. We're also dedicated to mastering money and making financial wisdom available to all. So come with me to the studio where we can get into this video together. And if you stay to the end of this video, I'm going to share with you some of the actionable steps and insights so you can get the best out of your retirement. Okay, so I'm just going to pop up the usual disclaimer to show that this video is for education and entertainment purposes only and shouldn't be misconstrued or misunderstood as offering financial advice. Now, before we get into this video, you all know that we love a quote on this channel, and here's another one from the legendary Bruce Lee. He went on to say, "I don't fear the man that has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I do fear the man that has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Now, this reinforces the importance of a focus as well as a mastery, which we all need when we're planning our retirement, as well as spending our money to have the best life, but on our terms. Now, this video was inspired by a Blackrock report which came out in December 2023. And we're going to leave a link to this report in the description below. Now, their findings were based on interviewing people who had been retired for at least 5 years and who were at least 60 years old. So as you can see from the chart on screen, the average pension wealth in the UK at age 65 is about £200,000. But I've also compared this to other countries as well. Now, there were 3 levels of wealth mentioned in the report. The lowest wealth was under 200,000, the median wealth was between 200,000 and 500,000, and then the highest wealth was above 500,000. So I'm going to go through some of the key findings of the report, as well as offer some insight as we keep going along throughout the video. Now, one of the most surprising findings was that across all wealth levels, most people who are retired still had 80% of their pre-retirement savings after almost 20 years in retirement. And what that means is only 20% of their capital and their savings had actually been spent after 20 years. Now, of course, there are going to be many reasons for this unexpected behaviour, such as an uncertainty and a fear to spend your money, leading to hoarding your money and your pension wealth. Now, this is likely to be due to having a fear, whether real or not, of running out of money due to ill health or the need for residential care, which could prevent you from having a higher standard of living in retirement. So let me just go and dispel some myths about care homes in the UK. Now, as you can see, there are about 450,000 people in care homes across the UK, which is less than 4% of the population above the age of 65. So the chances of being treated and spending time in a care home is very low. Now, if you did need dedicated and professional support, then the average cost for residential care is about £39,000 a year. But the average stay in a care home is more or less about 20 months. Now, I hope some of this puts some of that fear into perspective. So let's have a look at some of the key findings of that Blackrock report. So running contrary to the expectation that people in retirement would be eagerly spending their savings, This report from Blackrock reveals a very strong preference among people in retirement to preserve their nest eggs and their wealth. Now, this tendency clearly is driven by a deep-seated fear of outliving their savings and their pension wealth. I mean, clearly, there is a psychological comfort which comes from seeing a very high balance in a pension or a bank account, which outweighs the desire to spend on experiences which may mean you're not living your best life in retirement. So interestingly, while people in retirement initially prefer to keep their assets untouched, their spending tends to increase as they get older. Now, this gradual increase in expenditure is likely to be the desire to enjoy life while their health permits, and the realization that you do actually have sufficient funds to cover you for the rest of your life. Now, this is a difficult shift from a saving mindset to a spending mindset, where people tend to spend their savings as they get older. So it's hardwired into our DNA to save for our retirement, and it's hard to switch that off and to start spending instead. And many of us are going to struggle with this change in attitude as we progress through retirement. Now, this chart shows that about 50% of people actually wanted to keep growing their assets in retirement, whereas 25% of people wanted to have the same amount as when they started their retirement journey. And just a small percentage of people were willing to spend about a quarter of their pension assets. So what happened to wanting to spend all your savings and all your pension money living your best life and then dying with nothing in the bank? So if you're finding value in this video, then please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. About 95% of the people who watch this channel are actually not subscribed. So please help us by turning your device on its side, hitting the notification bell, and then settle in for the second half of this video. Now, this will really help us get this financial wisdom to as many people as possible. And remember, this is your channel and this is your voice. So if you're about to retire, or someone who has recently retired, what are you doing with regards to your spending and your saving patterns in retirement? Are you spending or are you investing? Let me know in the comments and we can all learn together. Now, there is a significant distinction between those with a pension income and those without a pension income. Those who receive a steady and a secure pension income are far less likely to dip into their retirement savings or their bank accounts. The predictability and the reliability of these pension payments provide a sense of financial security and, of course, of financial well-being. As a result, those without a pension describe their spending patterns as either thrifty or frugal, and they are not the words you want to use after working all your life for this very specific moment. Now, men and women, unsurprisingly maybe, approach retirement finances completely differently. 65% of men feel financially secure, and that compares to just 57% of women. Now, men are generally more inclined to spend their retirement savings, often motivated by a desire to maintain a certain standard of living, or perhaps to invest in experiences that they may have missed during their working years. Now, men are willing to take more investment risk, and this is reflected in their investment choices. Women, on the other hand, tend to be more conservative with a lower risk tolerance, prioritizing financial security and the potential need for long-term care. Now, a very curious finding in this report is that recently retired people feel more financially vulnerable, they are more concerned about healthcare costs or perhaps needing long-term care, and they're a lot more concerned about potential investment losses or stock market crashes. Now, this lack of optimism can lead to cautious spending in favour of protecting their savings. Now, I'm not suggesting you go out to a casino and put everything on black or red, but stock markets rise 76% of the time. So the investment odds are always going to be in your favour, especially over the longer term. So here are some actionable steps we talked about earlier to maximize your retirement, to help you live your best life. First of all, you need to take charge of your planning and save more into your workplace pension, your personal pension, and make sure you're entitled to the maximum state pension and make up for any missing years in your national insurance record. Next, you need to educate yourself on all areas of personal finance, such as your income, your expenditure, and of course of investing. You need to literally get out your bank statements or your credit card statements and write down what you've been spending your money on and which of these are going to continue into retirement and which of these are just going to fall by the wayside. Now, if you're living day to day now, then your retirement could be a 30-year struggle. Next, think about your retirement income early and put a plan in place, which you need to review, of course, and make sure it's flexible enough to adapt and to evolve depending on your personal circumstances and health as you move forward. And finally, you need to get out of the savings mindset and give yourself permission to spend and enjoy the go-go years in your retirement. Now, you may have heard the expression that nobody wants to be the richest person in the graveyard, so you might just be better consider living your best life now and then dying with nothing. So in conclusion, the decision to spend or not to spend in retirement is going to be influenced by complex psychological, financial, and health factors. Now, transitioning from saving to spending is a significant and a very difficult psychological shift to manage. And with fewer traditional pensions, we're going to face financial pressures to maximize our entire savings to maintain the standard of living that we want and we've earned the right to enjoy in retirement. Now, I mentioned earlier how important it was to make sure you've got a full national insurance record to get the maximum state pension. So please watch this video now to see what I learned on my journey to buy additional years, which meant a £35,000 boost to my pension income. So thank you for watching to the very end. Thank you for your time and for your patience as always, and I'll see you all again next week.